Hi, everyone, and thank you for watching this video for your written assignment number one. I'm going to go ahead and go through what the biggest mistakes were for the assignment and then give you an opportunity to earn some points back if you did not receive 100. So first of all, I want to say that most of you did extremely well, and I'm super proud of you all. There are some others, though. There's quite a few of you that I'm just going to say can take this opportunity to fix what needs to be fixed in order to get a better grade. Let's go ahead and take a look at stats. I'm a stats person. I love business numbers. I love running numbers. So I like to look at different numbers. We're going to go ahead and look at some of these numbers for this assignment. First of all, there are 49 students in the class, 9 of which received 100%. So great job. Now, if you're hearing a lot of noise in the background, I apologize. It's Friday night, and I have a feeling we have an epic game of Mario Kart going on with my kids. So please just disregard the crazy noises that you're hearing. All right, so 11 students received 98 points out of 100. So good job. 11 out of 49 students received a 98. Uh, and when they receive a 98, typically that's because they did not use in-text citations. So when I see grades, when I see a 98 or a 95, I typically know that's because of citations were not done properly. I'm a pretty generous grader, so as long as you hit all the things for the most part, use critical thinking. I'm not an English teacher, so if the grammar and spelling is decent, I go ahead and give you credit for that. But if I do see a lot of spelling mistakes, or if it just the sentence doesn't make sense, or it's not a well-structured sentence, then I'll go ahead and give that feedback. But for the most part, as long as you're using critical thinking and demonstrating that you know what you're talking about, I like to think that I'm a pretty generous grader. So when I see a 98, I know exactly what that is. That's when a student didn't cite properly. They used the references properly at the end. They formatted those correctly, but they didn't use the in-text citation. If you have a question about what insight or in-text citation is and what a reference is, please search it up on the internet. It's pretty simple. Basically, when you're writing academically, there's two parts. You have the in-text citation, which is when you're writing your sentence. At the end of that sentence, there has to be parentheses, and then you have to um, indicate what article or what author or what website that you got the information from. Anytime you're typing up your paper and you have to stop and look at the internet or look at your textbook, guess what? That constitutes a citation. Otherwise, if you don't, that's considered plagiarism. And so I'm not exactly the strictest on plagiarism. I understand that sometimes it's an oversight, but I will say it's important to always cite your work. And it's really simple. I always tell my students in my classes, in-person classes, hey, you're typing, you go to a website, you find some information, you have to cite it. It's really simple. We in business don't always reinvent the wheel. I use the internet all the time. I use the textbook. I cite, or I use a lot of different resources. I just have to make sure that I give credit when credit is due. And so that's what citation and references do. All right, 4 students received a 95. So you did an excellent job on your paper, but again, you didn't cite properly. Throwing a URL at the end of your paper does not constitute citations. Let's talk about the 7 students who didn't cite at all. So there are 7 of you who didn't cite at all, and I can tell you, I know for a fact that you needed to cite for this assignment. Why? Because you were researching companies. So whether it was Blockbuster or Sears or New York and Company, J.C. Penney's, I'm trying to think of the other ones. I know you found this information somewhere, so you have to have citations and references, right? So please make sure that you cite because technically that's considered plagiarism. And I don't want to go down that road, but make sure that you're citing. So going forward for all of my assignments, you will always need to cite. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 5 students who used the text submission box. All right, so this one has me scratching my head because I know that I put um, in Blackboard, at least 5 different spots. Please don't use the text submission. And I'm not trying to come off as snarky or condescending, but make sure you're reading the directions. I know that in the syllabus and in the getting started, I talk about not using the text submission or the comment box. I also know I had a question on the Getting Started quiz that said it was a true false question about the text submission box. So again, I'm not trying to be snarky, but I want you to go and make sure that you're reading the directions, you're reading the instructions. That's an important part of college. Here it says on the assignment itself, Word or PDF file only, no text comment submissions. And if you do use it in the grading rubric, it says if you do use it, it'll be a 20-point deduction. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the 12 students who didn't do the assignment at all. So 12 out of 49. Again, usually I'm not too judgy and I don't want to come off as snarky, but I feel as though 12 out of 49 is rather high. That's 25% of the class didn't do this assignment. I don't think I've ever had that before. Now I've had a couple of students, they're not able to do the assignment for whatever reason. I get it, life gets lifey. But to me, when I see that 25% didn't do the assignment at all, that is concerning. And so these written assignments typically only take about 30 minutes to an hour. The course should only take about 5 hours to complete each week. And if you don't do the work, you can't pass the class. So let's talk a little bit about how you can earn some of these points back that you missed. So if you received 100%, well, you don't need to even be watching this video, right? If you received 100, there's no points to make back. But let's talk about the other students who maybe got a 98, a 95, and so on. So if you received lower than 100, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to fix your mistakes and resubmit the assignment if you want to earn full credit. So those of you who received a 98, if you want to go back and cite within your paper the in-text parentheses and citations, certainly can do that for those extra 2 points. If not, I'm not going to judge that. It's only 2 points. So if you want to just move past it and make those corrections going forward, I understand that as well. Because at the end of the day, a 98 is still pretty good, and it's only 2 points away. And chances are 2 points out of 1,000, not going to make a difference. Same thing with the 4 students that got the 95. If you want to cite properly, fix those mistakes, I will go ahead and regrade it. But I won't judge if you don't, because a 95 is still pretty good. Now, for the students who didn't cite at all, this might be a little bit more difficult for you because you might not be able to find your resources that you used. So, it is what it is. You can go back and fix your mistakes and find those resources and cite them properly, or we can just move forward, and going forward next time you won't make those mistakes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the 5 students who used the text submission box. If you want to go ahead and fix that and submit it through Blackboard using a Word or PDF type file, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to do that so you can earn your 20 points towards this grade. So I'll be a little forgiving on this first assignment, but going forward, please don't use that text submission box. And of course, for the 12 students who didn't do the assignment at all, well, you have the opportunity to turn in written assignments late. It's 10% for every day it's late, every 10% deducted for every day it's late. Some points are better than none, so go ahead and get that in, and hopefully you can earn some extra points towards your grade. All right, that's all I have tonight. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. I want you to be successful. I want you to do well, and ask any questions you need. But thanks so much.